Bonsoir, bienvenue tout le monde au conseil municipal de la ville de Westmount pour le lundi le 2 août 2021. Welcome everyone to our Westmount City Council meeting for the 2nd of August 2021. We are going to do things a little bit differently tonight in the spirit of trying to have a bit more interaction, and that can be challenging on Zoom at times. So we will open up the question period to be where you ask the question live. It's not on camera, but you are able to ask a question live. And some people have submitted questions via the website today, via email, and obviously we will answer those questions. But there will be an opportunity if you would like to ask a question in the first or second question period to use the function of raising your hand, at which point the city clerk will unmute you and you will be able to ask a question. So we hope that this format works, and if not, we will adjust accordingly, but we are going to try that tonight. But obviously we will continue with the submission of questions as people have been doing over the past year and a bit. So on that note, I just have a few updates, and then I will hand it over to some of the councillors. In terms of COVID and a vaccination campaign, I have been working and speaking with public health to try and, while we have, by comparison, we have quite good vaccination rates in Westmount, so which we're very proud of, but until we really get every single person who's eligible vaccinated, I don't think we should stop. So a vaccination bus, we're hoping to have a pop-up bus towards the end of August, closer to the start of school, to really target that age of the population, the 12 to 17, who are going back to high school, but also the stage up in university kids, and truly anyone else who hasn't had their vaccine, that we're targeting to have a vaccination pop-up clinic at the WRC in the parking lot in the third week of August. So we are working with public health on that initiative. So stay tuned and please follow that we'll obviously put that out on all our social media channels, and we'll make sure that councillors as well help spread the word, and we would rely on citizens as well to help spread the word on that. Another update that I would have is just if you're walking around the city, you'll see infrastructure projects underway all throughout the city, and the big ones, obviously, Sunnyside, Mount Stephen, and de Maisonneuve. I think many people will be glad to hear that de Maisonneuve will be coming to a completion the week of August 13th. So that will certainly be good news to many. So the infrastructure projects are all rolling, and for the most part, very much on time. So if there's any changes to that, we will give you an update. But obviously, that has been a huge priority for this council and this administration, was to make sure that those projects got underway on time and on budget. So I think those are sort of the main issues for me to update, and I'm going to turn it over to council members who have an update tonight. Councillor Cutler, I think, is the first up with an update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few updates on some of our infrastructure projects. Obviously, the summer months tend to be the busiest time for a lot of our road reconstructions, water, all of that. So a few projects I want to update on. First, on the water side, looks like Lexington will be done relatively soon. So for everybody up in District 1, that should get completed pretty soon. Same for Forden Crescent, Mount Stephen. All the water work should be done relatively soon. So all that to say, we're happy sort of progressing. I don't know the exact date for all of them, but I know Lexington is almost completed. On the road side, so a number of projects obviously have been under construction. I mentioned before Mount Stephen, so that's continuing to progress, expected to finish some point in Q4 in October. Couple others, the resurfacing of Dorchester, so that's on the westbound direction, so that's scheduled to finish at some point in the next few weeks as well, so hoping to get that done in August. Sunnyside as well, many of you are aware of that project. That's slated to complete in October, and that's more or less it. We continue to do some work on Mount Pleasant from Dillavine to Severn as well. That hasn't started yet, though.
Okay.
That's it on my end.
That's your update. Thank you very much, Councillor Cutler. Councillor Peart, I believe, has an update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A little later on this evening, I'm going to be introducing an intent to what do we call it? Intent to file a motion
Notice
on
of
a new
motion.
bylaw. So notice of motion. Thank you for a new bylaw for minor derogations. Well, sorry, we say dérogation mineur in French, and in English translates to sometimes derogations, variances, or exemptions. This has been a long time coming in the city, and this will be a bit of a change for us. As it stands, this territory is almost 99 to 100% built, and it's an old territory, and we have a lot of existing conditions and a lot of bylaw changes over the years. And with our built infrastructure or built buildings, they don't always conform to our current bylaws. And what often happens is when there's a change, a modification, or an addition, or an update, the applicant comes through and they find that they can't even restore sometimes or to replace a feature. It could be a balcony, it could be a side staircase. And these create these tiny little quirks because maybe that setback is moved by 2 feet 30 years ago. And the way that we've done it in the past to address these is by issuing letters of tolerance. And these letters of tolerance, they work, but it wasn't the best way of proceeding. So now instead, what we're doing is like almost all the other cities and all the other municipalities in Quebec, we are introducing minor derogations or minor exemptions. And with these, for a very limited a subset of cases, an applicant will be able to apply for a condition, apply to regularize a condition that would not normally be allowed in our zoning bylaws. The key word here is minor. Okay, and it's a word that it's a mindset that we're going to be putting into place so that it is not a cure-all for all wants and all desires. It's really constrained, and it's going to be limited to very specific cases that cannot be solved otherwise. And I gave you an example about staircases. There was another case previously where an addition was being put on top of a one-story bungalow, and the setback had changed. And so the only remedy was to approve a building which was set back on one side elevation by 2 feet, rendering an outcome that nobody wants. Architecturally, it's not desirable. It doesn't make for a better outcome, but there was no mechanism that the city could use to address these particular kinds of changes. And without these changes, we are often making decisions that are not fully considered. They're not the best decisions. So again, this gives us the tool. We will be using this tool judiciously. It will come at a cost to the applicant. These tools, since they are variances from what is agreed upon zoning, they are considered minor changes to zoning, and these will be put up to public review. So everybody will have a chance to see the scope of these derogations that are being adjudicated upon on a case-by-case basis, and the council will review these on a case-by-case basis. All this says that this is something that I think will facilitate many of the issues that we encounter across the city. It can reach back in time and can address some of these cases which were acquired rights or vested rights, which currently can no longer be dealt with. It will give the city the tools to make some minor tweaks and some adjustments for some better outcomes. And so it's something that I look forward to. And again, I go back to the word minor derogations, and we're using this tool very judiciously.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Peart, for the update on that. And I would reiterate that, yes, the key word in there is minor, but it is a tool that will make for a better outcome for citizens. Okay, thank you for that update. Always lots of work going on at urban planning. And Councillor Breschke, do you have an update tonight?
Yes, I was just going to say that I'll be moving the City of Westmount's 2021 action plan concerning persons with disabilities. So as you know, every year the city puts out an action plan remunerating various opportunities for departments to improve accessibility. And some of the highlights in this year's annual plan, first and foremost, is the formation of the Westmount Accessibility Advisory Committee. That is one. Some other interesting highlights are the Prince Albert Park, the accessible playground, Prince Albert Park. There will be also a few other items that are still going to be completed in 2021, like a merchant awareness campaign on persons with accessibility, persons with obstacles, and then employee internal awareness campaigns. And one interesting one that drew my attention is in public security, training the public security officers, offering VDT, virtual dementia tours, and training from Giant Steps for first responders in interventions with persons on the spectrum of autism. So this year's plan is simplified. It's in a table format, very easy to read, and I invite everyone to take a look at it. I'll be moving that today, and it'll be available on the website. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Breschke. Councillor Gallery has some updates.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I have a few updates tonight, not that much. A reminder from what I mentioned 2 weeks ago, tomorrow is online registration day for our youth hockey that will be starting in the fall. And as of today, we'll be offering swimming lessons, a range of different classes from 2 to 5-year-olds. We can only make this happen for 10 days, but registration is this Wednesday, August 4th at 8 a.m. and space is limited. So come and enjoy the lessons in the pool, and the pool will be open till Labor Day. With regard to the pop-up concerts, we, the City of Westmount, have one last one left, so don't miss it. All the information's on the website. The Conseil des Arts will be offering 2 more pop-up concerts that will be on August 10th and August 23rd. We have our mystery walk that will be going till the end of the month. Again, don't miss it. And lastly, we have Shakespeare in the Park, who's coming back. It'll be a pop-up format, 20-minute different segments. So don't miss that as well. And that's Saturday, this Saturday, August 7th. So thanks and enjoy your August.
Thanks for all those updates. Busy times at the library, and I know people are very glad to be back in and all the events they're doing. And again, I would just reiterate that, you know, the sports and rec programs that we're running and the hockey that we're signing up for, the more people that get vaccinated, the greater chance that those programs will be able to run how we want them to. So thanks for the updates on that. Councillor Gallery, and next we have Councillor Lulham.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. So I wanted to highlight a brochure called A Walk in the Park that will be being delivered. You might already have received it. It's going to every home in Westmount. I know delivery started late last week and should go into this week. Through the various consultations that we did, the public consultations and all of the comments that we received, city residents and park users have expressed their desire to preserve the natural setting and picturesque appearance of Westmount Park, make the park accessible to everyone throughout all seasons, create a natural habitat that encourages biodiversity, and encourage multi-generational and multi-purpose spaces. So in this 24-page brochure, which is English one side, French the other, we have different sections highlighting, giving information on the comments that we received, and then actions to be taken from those, proposed actions. And then at the end, there is a project schedule. And I want to make clear that this schedule, this process is not the end of the consultation. So this brochure will go out, and there's a questionnaire at the back to be answered by the 20th of August that has a mail-in stamp, or you can do it online. And following receiving that, a final report will be tabled to council in September. But in 2022, the new council will then need to hire a landscape architecture firm. They'll need to go to public tenders for a project design. These are the big outlines. Then there'll be the more specifics. And during that process, there should be more consultation. Following that, then there would be in 2023 to 2025, the actual interventions in the park. The park won't be torn up all at once. It will be done in portions and sections, probably starting with the pond. So the last page has your reaction, and we ask you to send us your reaction to the different proposals. It's got a mail-in stamp and address, or you can do it online as well. So we're very excited about that. To go with it, we are going to have in the park, in a couple of weeks, we'll have some large billboards, in a week actually, we'll have some large billboards near the different sections of the park that are proposed for remediation, such as the pond, one on the pathways, one on the children's playground, splash pond, etc. And there'll be information about why and the comments we heard, and then there'll be the proposals. Further to that, there'll be articles in the local newspaper. There will be more information type sessions in the paper that are going to be posted. And there will also be some walking tours to give you information. We have some of our staff are going to take people around the park and talk about the different proposals, get feedback. So those will be advertised in the paper and on social media. So I ask you all to please keep your eyes open. It'll also be on the city website. To further updates is the furniture that we've had specially built for Green Avenue was delayed. However, it will be delivered next week. So those are the special benches with planters and the pergolas, etc. So those will be installed next week. And the work on Somerville Park, which was also delayed due to the civil tender, that work, the civil work, will begin at the either very end of August, beginning of September. That's the total dismantling of the park so that it can be rebuilt. So once it's dismantled and the civil work is done, then the next phase, we've already received the equipment, so then it will be installed and the landscaping will take place. And
thank you very much. Thanks very much for the update and for especially the important document that people will receive through their door about Westmount Park and the enhancement of Westmount Park project, and really breaking it down on different sections of the park. So hoping to get people's feedback on that as well. Councillor Kez, I think, has an update.
Yeah, mine's just a tiny little update. We're already in August, and just a little reminder that the second property tax installment is due in 3.5 weeks, being August 26th. So fast approaching, and that's it.
Thank you very much for that update. So now we will move to the first question period. So we will begin with the questions that were submitted online today, and then we will move, if anyone wants to raise their hand, they can do so with the raise the hand function. But you do not have to type in, you don't use the Q&A section. So I will hand it over to the city clerk, Monsieur Le Greffier.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as the mayor indicated, we're going to start with the questions we received in writing throughout the day. And then we'll go by raising hands of the attendees present. And you'll be given the permission to talk on Zoom through the system, and you should start by presenting yourself with your name and then with a question and a follow-up question if you have a follow-up question. So our first question received is from Anthony Paya, and his question is: Une cinquantaine d'arbres n'ont pas été replantés après une coupe intense sur Sherbrooke West, sûrement due à la grille du frêne. Les élus ont déjà été interpellés sur Twitter par le compte Arbre Montréal, mais sans réponse. Qu'en est-il de leur replantation?
Merci beaucoup pour la question. Puis vous avez raison, il y a beaucoup d'arbres on manque beaucoup d'arbres sur la rue Sherbrooke, mais aussi dans ce coin de Victoria et Sherbrooke. Puis on va faire, pas tous les 55, mais on va faire quelques-uns au mois de septembre et octobre. Mais je pense que Mme Lollam a plus de détails sur ce projet.
Merci. Oui, alors il y a 55 arbres qui marquent sur Sherbrooke et Victoria dans le quartier commercial. La plupart de ces arbres, c'est pas à cause de l'argile, c'est à cause de l'infrastructure. Ils sont plantés et en dessous d'eux sont les fils électriques qui deviennent chauds dans l'hiver. Et alors les racines se chauffent et l'arbre mord. Alors, il faut faire plus que planter les arbres. Alors, on va planter les arbres dans les espaces où, oui, l'arbre a été damagé, puis il a mourir, puis il y a assez d'espace pour les racines. Et ça, c'est plutôt sur Sherbrooke. Mais sur la rue Victoria, il faut faire des recherches sur comment est-ce qu'on peut déménager ces fils électriques et cette infrastructure pour avoir assez de capacité pour les arbres. Maintenant, quand on plante les arbres dans les zones commerciales comme la rue Green, on fait un genre de trottoir qui flotte. Et comme ça, les racines peuvent aller en dessous le trottoir. Alors, il faut regarder si on peut faire des sections comme ça sur Victoria peut-être, ou quoi d'autre comme... quoi d'autre on peut trouver pour... planter des arbres qui peuvent pousser. Il n'y a pas de question de les replanter, ils vont mourir en 2-3 ans. Alors, on veut avoir une solution complète, comme je dis, pour avoir un espace pour les racines que les arbres ils peuvent réussir. Et alors, ça, c'est le plan. On plante 155 arbres cet automne et certainement, il va y avoir plusieurs sur Sherbrooke, peut-être un couple sur Victoria.
Merci beaucoup. Prochaine question.
Merci. Notre prochaine question est de Monsieur Dennis Bureau. His question is as follows. When commenting on Bylaw 1575, Councillor Pearce described it as an administrative move, but also a keystone change and one that is required for foundational work within urban planning, particularly the bylaws for which it is responsible. 1575, however, also eliminates an urban planner from PAC to be replaced by an architect. Like most residents, I don't have a clue what is meant here by the term foundational work. Urban planning is responsible for permits, renovation guidelines, building codes, as well as zoning throughout the city. It also spearheads the Imagine Westmount 2040 project. Will Council provide residents with detail on the city's immediate priorities for urban planning and why 1575 is critical to its success? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bureau, for the question. And just to clarify, there is the makeup of PAC it's not eliminating an architect or an urban planner. It will consist of 3 architects, 1 urban planner, and another professional, which would be could be a related field or could be an additional architect. But I will hand it over to Councillor Pearce, who will happily give you more details on this.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So yeah, great question, Mr. Bureau, and it gives us an opportunity just to clarify things, because I can certainly understand why things might be a little bit murky. As it currently stands, we have our PAC is made up of 5 professionals or core PAC, and there are a minimum 2 architects, 2 urban planners, and 1 who is either an architect or an urban planner. On top of those 5, we have 5 additional, we have 5 substitutes. Now, the reason we had so many is because we have a main PAC, and then we kind of have a subcommittee PAC. When I was making reference to the foundational change, is because what we're doing here is we are kind of streamlining the process into having a singular PAC, which is reviewing the permit applications. the core task, I mean, the day-to-day task of the PAC is reviewing permit applications. Yes, from time to time, we certainly, the PAC advises council on urban planning issues. But by and large, it is a permit processing machine that just reviews renovation plans, additions, modifications. And so that's why now we have it is now a minimum of 3 architects, because the overwhelming majority of the files that we review are architecture files. We have a minimum of one urban planner, and that last person can either be an architect, an urban planner, and for the first time, we've opened it up to somebody in a related discipline. So I just want to bring the focus of this bylaw is really about the makeup of PAC. And the reason for the change to this bylaw is to fold in with the administrative workflow, the new processes and procedures that are being reimagined in the urban planning department. And it should streamline the process. It should make it more consistent. We will always have the same people around the table who are reviewing files, rather than sometimes a file being reviewed by one group of PAC members versus another group of PAC members. And so we will now have a more consistent analysis. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Next question.
We have a follow-up question from Mr. Bureau. His question is as follows. Bylaw 1575 also permits the addition of a person to PAC on a temporary basis for specific files. This person can either be a city employee or an individual from the general public. Will this person be required to have professional qualifications? Thank you.
I will hand it back to Councillor Peart, but I think he already addressed this, but yes, there will.
Well, actually, this is a bit of a nuance, because we're not talking about the fifth member of PAC. We are talking in the bylaw, we're making reference that the PAC may call upon additional resources that are beyond the 5 members, the membership of 5 on the PAC. The reason we do that is from time to time we encounter files that exceed the expertise of the PAC, and so we will ask for, maybe it could be a landscape architect to review a file, to give us some advice or some kind of oversight on a file. It could be a heritage consultant that we would call up on a file. So we use these resources in the city on an as needed basis, and we use them to supplement our knowledge, not to supplant our knowledge. And it's not a random person, it's really for their specific expertise, and it's targeted to a specific project for which we lack the internal expertise.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Our next and our last question submitted via this format is from Roger Yoakum. And his question is, with the approaching municipal election season, I'm concerned to know if the present Westmount Council has taken a decision on whether or not to install an artificial surface at the WAG. Secondly, I'm interested to know if Labosport has issued a final report or set of recommendations concerning an artificial surface at the WAG.
No, there's no decision made, Mr. Yoakum. And I apologize. I realized you sent me an email on Friday and I had not responded to that, but there is no decision to put an artificial turf at the WAG by this council. And the report, we don't really have necessarily a final report, because that would entail moving to the next step. So no, there is no report. Does anyone else want to comment on that? No? Okay, thank you. And that's it for questions that have been submitted online. So if anyone would like to raise their hand, they are welcome to. I see a raised hand from Mr. Bloomfield.
Okay.
Mute. Here you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, everybody. Real quick question. What do you got in mind for the lookout? I mean, it's the pearl of our, our city in terms of people coming and looking around, and it is an absolute dump. What's going on up there?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is a gem of our city. We are waiting on so as you know, the lookout, ages ago was closed for COVID restrictions, because if you live up there, which I think you do, it became quite a gathering spot. And then it is not closed for COVID restrictions. One of the banisters was broken this winter
No.
by snow clearing. And in the process of dealing with how we were going to restore that banister, we have discovered that there's some structural issues that we need to address, and we are awaiting an engineer's report, which we will have more details in the coming days of how we are going to address those issues. But right now, it is very much a safety issue that we have to keep it closed until we have a concrete plan of how we're gonna deal with some of these structural issues at the lookout. But I too want it reopened, and I get it. It looks terrible and the fencing looks terrible, but they are hard at work at trying to find the best and safest way to do that. So
Sure.
stay tuned. It is we should have some more details. Certainly by the next council meeting, we should be able to give more public details on that, more details on that.
Quick follow-up, just a suggestion, maybe something a little more aesthetic than that fence, something maybe a little bit more form-fitting. You're right, it's all falling down. I'm sure it's a terrible, but something that looks a little nicer than this bleak fence that just goes straight across the road.
Yeah, I hear you, and it's sort of construction type fencing, and what we're also dealing with an issue of kids or young people jumping the fence, of which we have to make it secure, but your point is noted, and will be part of our discussions.
Thank you so much.
So
And
stay tuned.
thanks to all of you for your service, as we say.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. But hopefully we'll be able to have a nice view from the lookout sooner rather than later. So any other questions? Any other hands raised in there? No?
No other hands raised.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So now we will move into the next part of the agenda avec l'adoption de l'ordre du jour et avec le conseiller Lallam.
Je propose que l'ordre du jour de la séance ordinaire de conseil le 2 août 2021 soit adopté.
Avec une modification.
Avec une modification.
That to be adopted with the removal of item 19, bylaw 1575, to establish a planning advisory committee. Did you have that updated?
No.
Okay. So that is, thank you, Councillor Lallam, who is the pro mayor. And a seconder on that will be Councillor Shammy. All in favor? Carried. Again, Councillor Lallam, confirmation of the minutes, approbation du procès verbal.
J'appuie que le procès verbal de la séance ordinaire de conseil de le 19 juillet soit adopté. Approuvé.
Merci beaucoup. And appuyeur, c'est Madame Breshke. Everybody all in favor? Carried. Reports to council. There are no, I have no correspondence to be tabled. Item 6.2, minutes of the general committee. Councillor Lallam.
The minutes of the general committee meeting of council held on July 5th, 2021 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Thank you. And 6.3, there are no finance and administration committee minutes to be tabled. 6.4, transportation advisory committee minutes. Councillor Bostock.
The minutes of the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting held on June 29th, 2021 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Thank you very much. 6.5, 6.5, le procès-verbaux du comité consultatif sur l'accessibilité de Westmount. Conseiller Breshke. I think she is frozen, so I am going to table
The minutes of the Westmount Accessibility Advisory Committee.
Held on
Should I
April.
continue?
Yeah, you're a little bit choppy, but you can continue.
April 20, the minutes of the Westmount Accessibility Advisory Committee meetings held on April 28, May 26, and June 30, 2021 are tabled.
Thank you. Item 6.6, Councillor Shammy, workforce report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The workforce report for the month of June 2021 is now tabled.
Thank you very much. 6.7, le registre des paiements, Conseillère Kez.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The list of payments for the month of June 2021 is tabled.
Thank you very much. 6.8, list of approvals in virtue of bylaw 1507. Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In accordance with bylaw 1507 on the delegation of powers to certain employees of the city of Westmount, the list of authorization of expenditures for the month of June 2021 is now tabled.
Thank you very much. Item number 7, adoption of council's position on the items to be submitted to Montreal Agglomeration Council. Councillor Lellam.
I move that the mayor, or in her absence, the acting mayor, be authorized to make any decision she deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Westmount and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the Montreal Agglomeration Council meeting to be held on August 26, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder on that? Councillor Shammy, all in favor? Carried. Again, Councillor Lellam, number 8, declaration commitment by the city of Westmount to protect monarch butterflies.
Whereas the monarch butterflies are an iconic North American species, whereas their exceptional migration and their fascinating life cycle appeal to the imaginations of millions of citizens, whereas the monarch population has declined by 90% in North America over the past 20 years, whereas scientists attribute this decline to the degradation and loss of reproduction habitats, whereas municipalities have a crucial role to play in the recovery of this species by creating reproduction habitats on their territories, adopting bylaws to protect it, sharing information on the subject, and inviting the public to take part in citizen science programs. Whereas the city of Westmount has already taken many steps to raise awareness on the decline of the monarch butterfly and has initiated a number of actions to help increase their numbers. I move that the city of Westmount officially commit to help to restore monarch habitats by continuing to implement measures to protect the species and encourage its citizens to participate in those efforts in order for these magnificent butterflies to once again proliferate throughout the continent. That the mayor of Westmount sign the mayor's Monarch Pledge to make Westmount a monarch-friendly city.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that Councillor Breschke would like to second that. Any further comments on this?
So this was actually a recommendation by some citizens, so created by the U.S. National Wildlife Foundation. This initiative has become a tri-national program between Canada, Mexico, and the USA. It's promoted in Canada by the David Suzuki Foundation. Through the Mayor's Pledge, more than 300 communities have adopted, and we're hoping to have many, many more. We must commit to implement at least 3 of the 24 action items within a year. We already have 12 completed, so we're on a good roll. And we thank our horticulturist, Jamie Gerbrandt, and our Horticulture Advisory Committee for most of that work, and our urban gardeners. So moving forward, we have 2 coming up in terms of education through social media and some further training for gardeners and the like. So very excited about it. And we have some new pollinator gardens just outside the library that our horticultural team have put together.
Perfect, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, Councillor Breschke, the 2021 action plan concerning people with disabilities. And if you freeze, I may hand it over to Councillor Bostock. I know that your internet is.
Madam Mayor, I move that the
I think what we'll do, Councillor Breschke.
Choppy.
Yeah, your
Thank you.
Your internet's a bit stable. So I will hand it over to Councillor Bostock to read, but I would just highlight all of the work that Councillor Breschke has done on this issue and the committee that she has put together that will come forward with some concrete action plans and some next steps. So the fact that she is not reading this does not diminish her commitment to this issue. So I'll just hand it over to Councillor Bostock to read it for you while your internet stabilizes.
So that everybody can hear about the hard work that's been done. So without choppiness. Whereas in accordance with section 61.1 of the Act to secure handicapped persons in the exercise of their rights with a view to achieving social, school, and workplace integration, CQLR chapter E 20.1, every local municipality with at least 15,000 inhabitants shall adopt an action plan identifying the barriers to integration of handicapped persons encountered in the sector of activities within its powers, and describing the measures taken over the past year and those to be taken in the coming years to reduce barriers to integration in that sector of activities. The action plan includes any other element determined by the government upon recommendation of the minister. Whereas in accordance with said section, the action plan must be prepared and published annually. I move that the 2021 action plan concerning persons with disabilities recommended by the administration be adopted to ensure the exercise of their fundamental rights.
Thank you very much. So you move that and then seconded by Councillor Breschke. And I think that Councillor Breschke covered this, some of it in the beginning of the meeting in her comments, but certainly I don't know, Councillor Bostock, if you want to add anything else, but some of the highlights are certainly the new park at Prince Albert Square.
Absolutely. And this committee has come together and put some really amazing suggestions together, and the administration has been open. And I think that once the committee comes to the table and presents their findings and recommendations, that this is something that we as a community will be very proud of to be able to do.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 10, numéro 10, mandat pour les services juridiques DHC Avocat Inc. Conseiller Chamy.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Whereas Ms. Anna Krostowski is the owner of the property located at 4030 Dorchester Boulevard West in the city of Westmount. Whereas the building located at 4030 Dorchester Boulevard West is in an advanced state of abandonment and dilapidation that may endanger the safety of individuals. Whereas since 2016, this building has been subject to numerous inspections and several notices of violation for unsafe conditions that have been sent to the owner. Whereas on February 12, 2019, the building was the subject of a notice of deterioration pursuant to section 145-44.1 of the Act respecting land use planning and development. Whereas sections 145.41 and 231 of the Act respecting land use planning and development provide that the Superior Court may, on application by the municipality, order the owner of the structure to carry out of the works required to ensure the safety of persons. Whereas the owner has had several opportunities to remedy the situation and make her property safe and compliant with the city's regulations. And whereas the owner has to this date refused or neglected to take the required action to remedy the situation, I move, Madame Mayor, that the City of Westmount mandate the firm DHC Avocat Inc. to undertake the appropriate legal action against Ms. Anna Krostowska, owner of 4030 Dorchester Boulevard West, to ensure that the city's rights are respected and ratify the taking of legal action in this file, and that the Director of Legal Services, or in his absence, the Assistant Director of Legal Services, be authorized to sign all documents required to give full effect to this resolution.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Councillor Kez would like to second this. Any further comments on this? No.
Straightforward.
Councillor Kez, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, this file has caused a lot of frustration for residents, myself included, and very eager to have Anna do the work. This is her get it done, get the fence down, and to remove the structure on Weirdale. I think everybody, this is a positive movement forward, and I hope it is effective.
Yes, agreed. All right, all in favor? Carried. Item number 11, again, Councillor Chamy, adoption update to the complaint procedure concerning the application of a rate or a condition for the supply of electricity from Hydro Westmount.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas in accordance with Section 87 of the Act respecting the Régie de l'Énergie, a complaint examination procedure shall be established by the electric power carrier and by every distributor. Whereas the complaint procedure concerning the application of a rate or a condition for the supply of electricity from Hydro Westmount is in force since 2020. And whereas the Director of Hydro Westmount recommends that an update be made to the complaint procedure concerning the application of a rate or a condition for the supply of electricity from Hydro Westmount in order to better serve Westmount residents and offer options similar to those of other members of the Association des distributeurs d'électricité du Québec. I move, Madam Mayor, that the attached complaint procedure concerning the application of a rate or a condition for the supply of electricity from Hydro Westmount be adopted.
Thank you very much. And a seconder on this will be Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this?
Straightforward.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 12, encore, conseiller Chamy, appel d'offres public, entente de prix pour produits d'inventaire pour Hydro Westmount.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $296,690.01, including tax credits, for the pricing agreements for the inventory products for Hydro Westmount for lots 1 to 6 and lots 8 to 13, tender number PUB 2021-025, and to award the contracts for this purpose as follows. To PTS Électrique Limitée, the contract for lots 1, 6, and 9 at its bid price. To Lumen, a division of Sonpar Canada Inc., the contract for lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and 12 at its bid price. And to Wesco Distribution Canada LP, the contracts for lots 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13 at its bid price for a maximum amount of $324,914.25, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tender PUB 2021-025. And finally, Madam Mayor, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file 2021-1325.
Thank you, Councillor Chamy. A seconder on this will be Councillor Cutler. Any further comments?
Straightforward.
No. All in favor? Carried. Item number 13, Councillor Cutler, call for public tenders, janitorial services, various municipal buildings.
Madam Mayor, I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $347,056.80, including tax credits for the 2021 fiscal year for janitorial services, various municipal buildings, tender number PUB 2021-038, and to award Axia Services for the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $3,283,097.74, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB 2021-038, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2021-1329.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Chamy. Any further comments?
We've worked with Axia for a number of years, I think as long as I've been on council, I believe, and they do a great job. And so this contract is for the janitorial work.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 14, l'appel d'offres public, service professionnel d'experts en audit comptable pour 2021, 2022, 2023 et 2024. Conseillère Kez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas according to section 573.1.0.1.1 and 573.1.0.1.2 of the Cities and Towns Act, CQLR C-19, where a contract for professional services is to be awarded, the council must use a system of bid weighing and evaluating. Whereas tenders were publicly opened July 9th, 2021 for professional accounting audit services for 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, tender number PUB 2021-040, and minutes prepared by the city clerk's office are submitted to this meeting, whereas following the analysis of the open tenders, Deloitte Inc. is the conforming bidder, having obtained the best score as it appears from the report prepared by the purchasing manager, which is submitted at this meeting. I move to award Deloitte Inc. the contract for professional accounting audit services for 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 at its bid price for a maximum amount of $224,776, including taxes, the whole in conformity with contractual document of the call for tenders PUB 2021-040. to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2021-1323.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. Any further comments?
Yeah, two firms made a bid for the mandate. One being Raymond Shabat Grant Thornton, who have used over the last few years, and Deloitte. Both firms were carefully evaluated, and Deloitte was chosen.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 15, modification to a contract supply of Tyco products, connectors, cartridges, and various transition joints for 2 years. And that is Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some more equipment for Westmount Hydro. I move that the contract awarded to Tyco Electronics Canada ULC for the supply of Tyco products, connectors, cartridges, various transition joints for 2 years, resolution 2020-0471, be modified and increased to a maximum amount of $172,462.50, all taxes included, and that an additional expenditure be authorized in the amount of $86,718.53, all taxes included, for the supply of Tyco products, connectors, cartridges, and various transition joints for 2 years with the Tyco Electronics Canada ULC. And finally, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2020-0990 and 2021-1333.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder on that motion? Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this?
Straightforward.
No. All in favor? Carried. Item number 16, numéro 16, modification d'un contrat inspection et nettoyage des égouts. Councillor Cutler.
Mayor, I move that the contract award to TechVac Environment Inc. for sewer inspection and cleaning, resolution number 2021-05124, be modified and increased for a maximum amount of $205,322.79, all taxes included, and that an additional expenditure be authorized in the amount of $18,665.71, all taxes included, for sewer inspection and cleaning with TechVac Environment Inc. to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making files number 2021-1263 and 2021-1320.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. Any further comments on this?
So we inspect our sewers, or we're in the process of inspecting our sewers, and appear that there's more work necessary for the cleaning in some areas than we had originally anticipated. So anytime there is an overture, we come back to council for authorization. Even though it's only $18,000, it still comes back to us. And so,
okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 17, notice of motion and adopting of a draft bylaw 1576 on minor exemptions. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hereby give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1576 entitled Bylaw on Minor Exemptions. The object of this bylaw is to establish an exception procedure whereby council may authorize the carrying out of proposed work or the regularization of work in progress or completed that does not comply with all provisions of the zoning bylaw or the bylaw concerning subdivisions. I move, sorry?
Yep, no, we'll
Yeah,
continue.
I move that the first draft of bylaw number 1576 entitled Bylaw on Minor Exemptions be adopted for submission to public consultation in accordance with the provisions of the Act respecting land use planning and development, CLQR, Chapter A-19.1, and that in accordance with Order 2020-049, the public consultation meeting be replaced by a 15-day written consultation announced in advance by public notice.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Lolum. You had addressed this at the beginning of the meeting. Do you have any further comments on this or no?
No, I
Okay.
think I gave a summary. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 18, notice of motion bylaw 1577 to amend bylaw 1565 to establish tariffs for the 2021 fiscal year. Councillor Kez.
I give notice of intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1577 entitled bylaw to amend bylaw 1565 to establish tariffs for the 2021 fiscal year.
It was a first draft, you know.
The
Andrew, or sorry, you're not
Sorry.
on mute
No.
to the city clerk. Go on. Excuse me.
The object of this bylaw is to introduce a fee for minor exemptions and to provide for possibility of a partial refund for the fee for an application for the amendment to the zoning bylaw. A copy of the draft bylaw is tabled and available for public consultation.
Thank you very much. And that is the end of the agenda because we have withdrawn item 19 and I don't believe there's any new business to add in there. No. And now we move to the second question period. So we will operate in the same way as we did with the first question period. And you can raise your hand if you have a question. And you will just be, your camera won't be turned on, but we will hear you. And if there are no questions, we will adjourn the meeting. I don't see any hands raised there. So the meeting is adjourned and we will have a meeting mid-month August. And again, just a reminder, I guess the date for the September meeting is on a Thursday this year due to Labor Day as well as Rosh Hashanah. So it will be on Thursday, September 9th. So thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde.